All right, all right. Don't know how much there's going to be to talk about in this this halftime show as the Tennessee Volunteers lead the UT Martin Skyhawks 52-7. Not after the game, at halftime.
Halftime.
Tennessee on pace to drop 104 on UT Martin's head. I assume they'll probably take the air out of the ball a little bit in that second half, but we shall see. I am Charlie Burris of A to Z Sports. That is Jonathan Crompton of Tennessee quarterback fame. We'll talk about it all in just a minute. Before we get to it, and while everybody is pouring in here to listen to us, I'll tell you about our sponsors, Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau Health Plans is a corporate sponsor of the Vols. They've been serving Tennesseans for 75 years. Plan on them for health, dental, and vision. FBHP.com/ATOZ. That is Farm Bureau Health Plans. Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and type in promo code VOLS for $30 off your order. And fill your freezer with enough gourmet food to keep your cookouts going strong into the fall. And finally, Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey right here behind me from Log Still Distillery. Make your own luck, just like Tennessee's fast-paced Rattle and Snap offense, which just laid 52 points down in a half with Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. I mean, what can you say, Cromp? Your thoughts on that first half? Just absurd.
Well, Jeff, right off the bat, Tennessee gave up a touchdown. Yes. Yes.
Boy.
Attaboy, Jeff. I love it. Right out of the gate. First comment that I see. No, but I mean, that's, what they are, who we thought they were, in the sense of, no pun intended, it's an FCS team against the number 3 team ranked in the country, right? You should have this score. Good, early on, kind of started a little slow defensively. And again, they did show all the names. I don't remember all the names, but we've got, it's either 5 or 6 defensive, not necessarily starters, but big time contributors out. So they kind of, first couple drive or 3 and out, then they go, what? It was like 13 plays, 70 something yards. And you go, really? Like, this is what we're doing? But then the next drive, they come right back and get a turnover, which is what you like to see. Right? Kind of let those guys get their feet wet that aren't typically starters in our secondary, getting another guy injured. So I'm glad we went on a 45-0 run. Defense kind of did what they're supposed to after they settled in. But early on, you're going, it's not how we're supposed to do that, right? We're supposed to manhandle this team. Then we kind of settled in, and next thing you know, it's out of hand. So I was very impressed with it. I was impressed with it after the shaky start, but I'm glad we kind of settled in defensively, started getting some pressure. You can tell UT Martin's O-line is now starting to get overmatched. They're watching the game, especially on the replays. You can tell they're starting to not block their right assignments. They're starting to get, this is too big for me moment. Not that say that the players can't play, but dude, they're not used to playing in front of 102,000 people. It eventually is going to take its toll.
It was just obvious after really the second drive UT Martin had. I mean, this thing was over. So let's hit some of the high points here. Jalen Hyatt, once again, having a massive game. Let's see what all he rattled off in that half. 174 yards on 7 catches for 2 touchdowns. Also, Ramel Keaton, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Squirrel White, 50 yards already on a 49-yard catch. But
the future's looking bright with those guys.
Man.
With Squirrel and Keaton, it's looking really bright for the future with what we've got.
Is Princeton Fant? Is this? I mean, Princeton Fant. I don't want to say Princeton Fant coming out game really, because he's already made really great plays for you this season. But I love the fullback set, and then he throws a touchdown right there.
I almost did. Did anybody pick him on a DraftKings? Because you should have. And I'm kicking myself in the rear by going, he was cheap. Should have done it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it's simply put, this is the best Tennessee football offense in the history of this program, right? I mean,
that's relative. You got to understand, like,
that's true. That's true.
Offenses have not always been spread, let's go speed game. So you can't. I think that's kind of a fire statement in the sense of people, from the early 90s and the 80s and the 70s, Condredge Holloway era where it's like they were tremendous in those times. So it's all relative to the era of football. In the last 20 years, 100%. But over the whole grand scheme of the program, I think that's kind of a hard statement. But it's also a really good argument to say that it's hard to beat this offense.
It's just completely absurd. And
and
it just seems like they just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. You're getting plays you haven't seen from Fant in a week against UT Martin. You're getting Squirrel White making big plays. You just everything. And then you can even default back from there and talk about Hendon Hooker in this game. I mean, just padding his already Heisman-worthy stats, 18 for 24, 276 yards on 3 touchdowns, and then Princeton Fant 1 for 1 for a touchdown.
So that's a really good point that you brought up, though, about Hendon and the Heisman. The only negative of already pulling him is, man, let's call it like it is. In today's world, the Heisman is about stats.
Gotta go with style.
And him getting pulled now, and I agree from the football morality standpoint. I 1,000% agree with already pulling him in the second quarter. You don't need him getting hurt, but for the Heisman, for the flashy wow style points, statistical game, only 276. Keyword only. I know that we're saying only. That, you know what I mean? Like, people are going to go, oh, well, that hurts his average per game, blah, 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 when they're voting. That's the stuff I don't like, and I do think that can hurt him down the road, but it's the right thing to do in this game.
Yeah. And I don't really mind it either way. You can take the tack of, like, we want to run up those Heisman numbers, or just go, we don't care. We're just going to win the football games and move on.
I think you're not wrong in either sense, but I think it's a little more right to go ahead and pull them because, we're trying to win an SEC championship. And we need him healthy.
Exactly.
That's what it is. But if we want to talk about stats, what I told you right before the air, man, Hyatt in 6 quarters of football, the last 6 quarters, 13 catches for 383 yards, 7 touchdowns, and an average of 29.5 yards a catch in the last 6 quarters.
Unbelievable.
What are teams going to do? I'm saying that is like, what are teams going to do when Tillman comes back?
God.
Like,
I mean,
that's
on.
Absurd.
And every part of this on offense and defense, with Tillman being out, I mean, you found an incredible depth guy in Ramel Keaton, who's making great plays for you as a starter. Then Squirrel White is right there too. Now we see,
and you can't forget about Brew.
And then Brew McCoy is right there too. I mean, you're
and then but Rick and you said, we don't want to say that it's Fant's like coming out party, but if Fant keeps just making the oddball play to where you go, damn, you got to keep them on their, like, now we're keeping them on their heels. Now they don't really know. So, and we're going in the I formation and motion across what UT Martin hit us with for a touchdown, that little jet sweep. Don't be surprised if we hit, not this week, but down the road, either a jet sweep or a fake jet sweep bootleg to Fant in the flat against a Kentucky or a Georgia. But we can get about that later.
I'd love it. I would love it. And I'll say this. Tim Spoon says, is this first time Turrentine has played this year? He looked pretty good. We're going to talk about the defense. At least I am in my Omaha Steaks change where we're going to talk about what Tennessee needs to do in this second half. It usually is to get the win, but I think we're pretty sure that's going to happen no matter what. But that will be our Omaha Steaks change, and I got to get the banner up here, and I'll tell everybody about Omaha Steaks. From tailgate parties to busy weeknights, the flavor experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to savor all the flavors of fall with their mouth-watering assortments of perfectly aged steaks, ultra juicy burgers, and easy to prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Right now, take advantage of 50% off site-wide by shopping their semi-annual sale. That sale only happens twice a year, and it is on right now. 50% off delicious customer favorites. And when you use promo code VOLS, that is VOLS at checkout, you'll get an additional 30% off your order. So don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter Vols at checkout and stock up on fall flavor today. Omaha Steaks is perfect for those chilly and busy fall nights with entrees ready before the kids can say, "What's for dinner?" And don't forget to use the promo code VOLS for $30 off. Omaha Steaks is not just steak. It is the best steak of your life, guaranteed. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code VOLS at checkout. Minimum order may be required. Omaha Steaks, promo code VOLS. So, Crump, you're Omaha! We evoked Peyton's name last week when he was in attendance. We'll do it again now. What is your change of the game?
Change it? I mean,
or what would you change anything?
If you think about it, it's kind of hard to really have a change of the game at this point with this type of score. But what I would do, my change of the game, honestly, is I would try to get the run game going a lot. We've rushed for 100 yards, so I'm saying that, but just to speed the game up, but the more reps you get in the run game for an O lineman and a running back and live action rather than practice, the better. And we're going to need that the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right, so that would be my changes. One, yes, it's going to speed the game up, but mainly so we can try to get our guys efficient in the run game, because Kentucky is going to play ball control. We've got to do what we got to do to keep them on their heels in the run and pass. And then Georgia's number one for a reason, right? So that's my changes, is to get the run game really going and be very efficient in the run game.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I'll sort of plug again here. Timothy Rogers says, do you guys think Tennessee will make the CFP even with a loss somewhere on the schedule? We'll talk about that in the post game. Yeah. Those things. Tune in at the post game show. Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent topic that I was actually talking to Austin Stanley about this morning. Or I don't know if it was him. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm getting my conversations mixed up in my own head. All right. So my change for this half, it's really all just looking forward to the future, and specifically a DB. I obviously like what you see from William Wright. You got to walk on DB, making plays in that half. We had that question just a minute ago about Andre Turntine. I don't know. I don't think this is the first time he's played this season, but I think his time has been very limited. But somebody'd have to check me on that to make sure. But just get those dudes as much experience as you can, because clearly that is going to be a thing. I mean, William Wright was in the game at the end of the Alabama game.
Yeah.
That's not good. So get him reps. Get those guys reps. Get them ready to go. And hopefully, ideally next week, I mean, we don't really know because they're so vague about injuries, but hopefully you have Haddon, McCullough back next week or the week after that. You know, some of these dudes coming back to give you depth pieces. But as far as the second half goes, just get that experience in, because I mean, who knows? I don't think they're going to get challenged all that much, but it's the most that you can do in this half.
Well, no, but I totally agree with that. Like our changes are the same thing, just on different sides of the ball. We're going to need the secondary to play big in the next couple weeks and down the stretch, and we need the run game to play big in the next couple weeks and down the stretch. So I totally agree with that statement. I mean, we've shown we can stop the run as much as we need to. Our pass defense is very suspect. You know,
it's rough.
But let's call it like it is. What we've done and how we've talked about this is, against certain teams, we've said we're going to choose for you to have to beat us in the pass game rather than the run game, because you haven't been able to. Florida, LSU. So that's why our defense statistically is 104th in the country, because we've said you're not beating us in the run game. We don't believe you can beat us in the pass game. Rack up the yards, you just won't score. So I do think our defensive overall rating is skewed. But, hey, teams are going to look at it and they go, we can throw the piss out of the football now. And especially the next couple weeks, we're going to have to be able to cover one-on-one.
Yeah. I was watching some analysis this week from guys. Actually, he was a Georgia fan. He's just a YouTube sort of football analyst guy.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Tim Banks' defense, and he said that he just really admired that Tim Banks, it's so clear that they've made a plan and they are sticking to it. They are going, look, we don't have the dudes back here to cover the way that we need to play man, to adequately play man. And so they have that identity. It's kind of like on offense. They got that identity. I think on defense they do too. We're a run-stopping team.
And we're run-stopping and hopefully, keyword hopefully, rely on pressure to make you get the ball out quicker than you want and help our guys out in the secondary. If you think about it, it's kind of been Georgia. Now, their secondary the past couple years has been better than ours right now with depth, but they've had such a just fierce front seven that they're like, screw it, we're going to pressure the piss out of you and make you throw it earlier than you want. They just had a little bit better secondary, like if you look at just the stats of it. But I think we are getting to that point with some depth. This is why the game like this is crucial. And if people go, oh, you're playing UT Martin late in the year. Alabama does this every year too, right before the Iron Bowl. This is how you build depth for the future. So I'm not going to complain with it because everybody does it. We haven't done it for the longest time.
I don't know who scheduled this season and who made those decisions. They did an excellent job.
Yeah.
This whole schedule, I mean, it just sets up really beautifully for how this is going for Tennessee. I mean, you didn't know you were going to be this good, but yeah, it's just really been awesome. Because you look at the way that game started. If this had been Kentucky, you're probably down 10 points against Kentucky.
Early, yes.
Yeah. So
our advantage, though, is remember what we said. And we'll talk about this at the post game, obviously, but Kentucky loves to run the football. That plays well for us.
It does.
It plays really well for us. They love to run the football. They like to get 2-3 tight ends in there and play action. That's where our secondary needs the help. So I do think the second half is big because if you're UT Martin, man, screw it. Let's throw the football.
Air it out.
Try to get their guys better for their down the stretch. So I think that plays well for us and our secondary struggling, that they're going to get a lot of reps, or at least I hope so.
I hope so. So that's what we got for that first half, 52-7. I mean, the results speak for themselves for Josh Heupel right now. We will be back in the post game, and to just tease that, I mean, for the most part, it's going to be Kentucky analysis. It's going to be what we were talking about, Tennessee and the playoff. I have an interesting question for you, Cromps. How you weigh in. Actually, from a topic from College Game Day this morning, something that they talked about there that I want to talk about. So we'll discuss it all in that post game. Everybody come back. Thank you so much to everyone for watching, commenting, tuning in. Like, review, share the show. Y'all know what to do. So otherwise, we will see y'all after the game.
See you guys.